Hi, my name is Micah Herndon. I'm a Marine. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. And to help me cope with my PTSD and my survivor's guilt, I run in honor of my fallen brothers that sacrificed everything for this country. I never envisioned myself running the actual Boston Marathon. Really, what got my attention with Boston was the Boston bombing in 2013. Those people, the spectators, that really hit home with me because I know exactly what it's like to go through an explosion. That's when I fell in love with the city of Boston because it just shows the community and the love that they do have for each other. My first marathon that I did run was Canton. I qualified for Boston with my first marathon. So I knew right then it was in the cards. I absolutely had to run. Just the Boston course itself, it's pretty tricky. You don't really know the magnitude of how hard Boston is until you actually run the actual race. So the locals and people that have run Boston before, they kind of have a game plan for your first time. It's kind of a lot to take in because it's one of the most prestigious marathon in the world. And me being such a rookie runner, I was kind of shell-shocked a little bit. The first about 10 miles, it's all downhill grade, so a lot of people they pace out too fast. So I knew I had a pretty good pace going, and I was just caught up in the actual experience of Boston. I really wasn't focused on my efficiency. As you get closer to the finish line, the crowd, it just keeps getting louder and louder and louder. That really does help with the whole pushing through whatever you're going through at that moment. Mile 16 through mile 21, it's Heartbreak Hill. That's when runners hit the wall. I was pacing really good on underneath my goal. I was almost through the whole Heartbreak Hill section, and I just had a couple more miles to go. And once you get over, you crest Heartbreak Hill, it's smooth sailings from there. But mile 20, that's when my right leg locked up. It was my calf, my quad, my hamstring. If anyone's had a cramp before, how that feels, it's kind of devastating. So I was kind of running, with that leg straight for 2 miles. Mile 22 hit, and that's the same thing happened to my left leg. So now both legs were locked up. I kind of ran like Forrest Gump when he had those braces on, just straight-legged, and I really was going at a power walker's pace, not even a jog. The reason why I do run is for my therapy, to help cope with PTSD and survivor's guilt, but also in my brother's names that I do run for and their story. I felt like I let them down, and so mentally it was mental warfare at that point. That was the lowest point in the race. I knew I could either give up, but that's not in my DNA. I've never given up on anything. Being a Marine, what's instilled in us from boot camp is to adapt and overcome. There is one thing that I knew I was going to do, and that was to finish the race, by myself. I didn't want any help. Next best thing I can still do to help get to that finish line is to crawl, using the elbows and just kind of squirming like a worm, pretty much. I did that until my right leg loosened up, and I was able to crawl the rest of the way. Everyone has a strength within them, the ability to adapt and overcome any situation, mentally, physically, emotionally. Everyone has that in them. You have to find whatever works for you and grab onto it and go with it to be able to pull yourself out from that dark spot. It doesn't get any better than that.